Okay. Shall we move to our next question? Hello?
Sure, sure.
Okay. So this is again, this question is asked in a lot of interviews nowadays. Like, how do you start your day as a Scrum Master, or what do you do as a Scrum Master from morning till evening? So if you can also throw some light on this, what are different activities or things or challenges which a Scrum Master face on day-to-day basis, that will be great, Nila.
Okay. Uh, well, I don't know how should I say answer this question, but definitely I have been asked this question a lot many times. Okay, if you see my CV, I've also worked in many organizations, and I've gone through many interviews. Normally, when it's like a typical question, like introduce yourself or tell me something about yourself. So this is a very initial questions that okay means like how do you start your typical day as a Scrum Master? Just tell me. So frankly saying,
Initial,
there is
sorry, Nila. Initial but very important question, because that
absolutely.
will exactly, that will tell exactly the interview what exactly you are doing in your organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes,
That's
yes.
a thought behind, I think, as you mentioned,
Yes, yes. So
why
that's
they're
what
asking.
that's what I'm saying. That this is a very important question, and yeah, and um, people who are aspiring to be a Scrum Master or who are willing to go for a change, they should know what to say. So I just want to echo that. So uh, but again, I'd say frankly saying that there is no appropriate answer to this question because everyone has their own way and style to start their day, and most importantly everybody must start their day for their own advantage. They should not go for a template. They should not think okay, this is a template or this is a process. No, they should start their own day for their own advantage. It's their prerogative. So there is no adequate way, but there are few mandatory things. So far Scrum Master's job is concerned, there are few mandatory things which a Scrum Master must do in a day, and he or she must not miss that in a day. So and those things the interview wants to know. If you are with me, Sunan, then I'll say those things the interview wants to know. So I just want to recite that. So when you are being asked that how you start your day, so uh, I would like to recall my typical day, that what I do normally. When I enter the office premises or when I log in, I log into the Jira or Azure DevOps or Rally, whatever tool you have, and see what's the health of the product backlog. How's the product backlog looking? Then second, is the product backlog being prioritized or not? Means being estimated or not, or being prioritized or not by the product owner. So if I say yeah, if I say view it yes, it's being done. So fine, it's not being done or it's half done, then I just put a reminder to my PO that okay, we have to meet for just a small collaboration meeting or something like that. Then third is very basic. How is the spin burn down looking? Spin burn down chart looking? Means whether we are totally, as a team, we're totally aligned or in sync with the sprint goal or not. Then, as you are in the tool, the first hour, so you have to see, look in the swim lanes. Swim lanes means if you know this term is from the Jira tool. If you see Jira tool, people must be using digital Kanban boards. So the columns are normally as termed as swim lanes. So how your swim lane looking has been updated in the tool or not. Then uh, I would go and visit the capacity of the day, whether it's being in sync with the capacity planning, what is being done during the sprint planning or not. Means people, if somebody is off, if somebody is in emergency leave, or somebody has not mentioned or not informed but is not there in the office, so then definitely things may go upside down, because capacity planning is a very important thing in Scrum. It's a time box event, and we have to adhere to that. But yes, we have to keep some contingencies as well. So for that, a Scrum Master must look into the capacity of the day. in the first hour. So then, how is the dependency or impediment tracker looking? Which blockers, action items have reached ETA? What is the elapsed time? Has they almost crossed past the elapsed time or not? And then asking a question to yourself, or say, I ask that to myself, am I dealing with the impediments or not? Am I dealing with these, impediments today with proper due diligence? If the blocker meeting been scheduled or not, if my diary or the action owner's diary being populated or not. So then yes, are all daily scrum call updates in the right format in the tool or not? So because if you many cases we just start our day with the daily scrum, but I would here just say that just don't abruptly start with your day with the daily scrum. Spend some 15 minutes time in the tool, then go for the scrum call. I think everybody does that, but I have also seen people getting into the office and directly jumping into the scrum call. So which is uh, pragmatically not correct. Ideally it's okay. So then yes, are the latest sprint comments adjusted in the backlog or not? Sprint review comments, because anyhow you must have got a sprint review before the uh, day, or say 3 days back or 2 days back or some days back. So whatever comments been given as a feedback, those comments are being adjusted in the backlog or not. I again say in the backlog or not, because feedbacks are mostly towards the MVP. Feedback are mostly towards the project work, not exactly about your behavior, even if that is there, but still, which should go exactly to the tool that is related to the products, that is related to the features, that is related to the stories, that is related to the say benefits which you are planning to go give to the client. So sprint planning comments adjusted in the many scrum masters miss that. Many scrum masters don't do that, or say team doesn't do that. So you have to make sure that sprint review comments are being adjusted in the backlog or not. If not, then please immediately inform this to your product owner, and then mention that we have to do that. Otherwise, you will again get into that VCS circle. You'll again go get into the same thing, and those things will come back to back from the stakeholders to the Scrum Master. Okay, and then talking about sprint review, then I would say definitely about the other event, that is the retrospective. That are retrospective action items being tracked or not? I'm sure when you're conducting a retrospective, you must be having an Excel file of where you have put down all the action items with the action owners with an ATA. So all those being tracked, all those are in sync with not. You have to just look at your ATA. If something is okay, not prioritized, not urgent, then it's okay. You can take your own time. But if something is very urgent, you have to work on that. It's being tracked or not. Then yes, communication again. Are all team members really communicating with each other? Means you can almost see you being invited or being informed how many collaboration meetings are taking place other than your sprint events. How much say normal technical events taking place, and so you can almost see, if you look into your mails, you can almost see that the information are being exchanged properly or not. So if you have just 5 minutes towards your inbox, you can understand that all the team members are really communicating with each other about everything. So there are, as I said in my previous question, previous explanation, there are no pseudo silos being made. So yeah, and then okay, if you are working in a typical distributed team, so are all onshore and offshore teams touching base or not? Are they really handing over the work when they're logging off every day or not? So that you have to little vigilant on that. So then next is, are team members updating their workflow status in the tasks? Because if you see it, your streamline, you must have got that okay, who has updated, who has not updated, hours being burnt or not. Say if you look at your sprint burn down, you can almost figure it out that all the team members updating the workflow or not. So you can highlight it in the Scrum call, or say personally going to them. Then of course, is the team in sync with the sprint goal or not? Are they deviating or are they being dragged? You have to be vigilant. And how you'll be vigilant? You have to see it every day. That is the team in sync with the sprint goal or not? Is a continuous flow of tasks being maintained or not? Means if somebody is really starving of work, he's sitting idle, you don't know. And all of a sudden, after 2 days, you see that, okay, he has capacity, but doesn't have any work. So what do you do? So you have to see that what is the WIP limit. If the WIP limit is being crossing or it has gone a little low, then you have to see whether the continuous flow of tasks being properly maintained or not. Then you have to also see that a good agile rhythm is in place or not. And for that, as I say, you have to look into your calendar, you have to look into the meetings, you have to look into diaries, you have to see, okay, who has denied, who is coming to the calls. You can almost see in inbox. So because everybody has to respect an agile rhythm, the proper cadence, which I normally say. And yes, going to the delivery or deliverables, a perfect built deploy pipeline created or not. If you're bringing CI/CD into the practice, and even if you don't, then still a perfect built deploy pipeline being created or not. And then coming down to the QA, as testers and developers are all a core part of the Scrum team, but still a little look into the a little glance into the test cases and if you are automating everything being automated or not, whether the test cases are failing or passing, what is the fail pass percentage? Just give a look into it in the morning. So it's almost 20 points, I think. Sunand.
Great, Nilab. Thanks a lot for this elaborated answer, Nilab. I am definitely hopeful and I'm definitely confident that whoever is going to watch this session first time, even if he or she is the aspiring Scrum Master, they will get a lot of pointers from whatever you have mentioned, right? So thanks a lot for that, Nilab.